season. It should be electric.
Well, yes, but also no. To say that the NHL season is electric is a gross understatement. This season, it has been chaos. I mean, teams starting the season by sucking and then turning into gods later on. Teams starting to play as gods in the beginning and then fall apart at the worst possible moment in the later half. The San Jose Sharks allowing 10 goals in a game.
He's got 2, and it's a 500th game to remember as Anthony Movillier puts the Canucks into double digits.
Twice?
Redirect, and Russ' chance was denied. It's loose. It's in.
3 hat tricks in a game?
And he scores. It's a hat trick for JT Miller, the 3rd of his career.
Zuccarello. Eriksson scores! The hat trick! Kaprizov takes it away, fires and scores! A 3rd hat trick in the game!
Multiple players scoring 50 goals. Multiple players getting 100 assists. Austin Matthews winning the Rocket Richard Trophy for scoring the greatest number of goals of all time. Empty net goals apparently serving as crime against humanity. Goalies being pulled in overtime? Frozen frenzy? Okay, but let's not forget the greatest thing ever. A certain player has entered the league. Here's the NHL's new Lord and Savior, Connor Bedard. Matt Rempe. Season has been nothing but chaos, like it is awesome. But what better way to have the most chaotic season I've ever seen than to have a chaotic ending? Several teams have already clinched. The West was already clear. The East, only one division has everybody clinch, and 2 of them in the Metros clinch. But the final 2 spots remaining, and the amount of teams that have a chance to make it, and it's all gonna come down to the final games. Let's just say that the fight to make it to the playoffs is a bloodbath. It's like all the teams fighting for a playoff spot are playing like absolute gods in another level. It's like you think they're President Trophy winning teams. It's like it's only the final games of the regular season, yet they're treating it like it was a Stanley Cup final game. Except instead of winning the Stanley Cup, the prize for making the most wins is making the playoffs. It's all coming down to the skin of the teeth. So the Islanders were able to claim the 3rd spot in the Metro Division. So it all comes down to the 2nd wildcard spot. Whoever made the most wins would make the 2nd wildcard. All teams keep battling. And it all came down to the Washington Capitals, the Philadelphia Flyers, the Detroit Red Wings, and the Pittsburgh Penguins. the Capitals and Penguins, who sucked at the very beginning, but then somehow find their way into the into a playoff race. And the Flyers and the Red Wings, who started off as gods in the beginning, but then fall apart at the very end. Eventually, the Penguins will get eliminated, but there are still 3 teams remaining. And believe it or not, all of this is decided on the final game of the season. The most important game ever. It's like, and involves the Red Wings, the Capitals, and the Flyers. Like, the Capitals and Flyers were playing against one another, while the Red Wings played against Montreal. The Red Wings, who played against Montreal in the previous game, had a godlike game.
To the middle. Now low Raymond. Chance to shoot. He scores! Raymond! Lucas Raymond! 4-4. 1:17 to go. And the Hall of Michigan native stopped there by Lyon. Lead pass in for Larkin. In space for Raymond. And he scores! Lucas Raymond! Overtime winner! Could not make this up. Oh my.
Down by 3 goals, came back in the dying minutes to win it in overtime to keep their season alive. It's literally chaos over there. So knowing it comes down to the final games where you must win or your season is over, it's gonna be entertaining. Even so, as both these games happen around the same time, meaning that if you're an NHL fan looking to see who wins the final spot, you keep switching the channels over and over and over again to see how it goes. Now, if you're really bloodthirsty for the ending, you spend the extra time and effort go into Best Buy or a television store to get yourself another television with a television so you can watch both games at once. So let's explain how this goes. Like, in the first period, both the Red Wings and the Canadiens scored. Then in the second period, Montreal scored 2 goals and the Red Wings scored 1. After the second period, Montreal has a 3-2 lead. Detroit would score in the third. Montreal would take the lead back under 10 minutes left. What happens? To be continued. Meanwhile, let's go to the Capitals and Flyers game. In the first period, the Flyers were off to a good start as they scored a goal. Or so they thought. So the Flyers took a shot. The goalie stood perfectly still. No one knows where the puck was. Then all of a sudden, it fell from the air into the net. Now in other situations, it would be a goal. But the refs lost sight of the puck, and just before the puck went in, he blew the whistle, meaning the goal never happened. Sure, the Flyers said that they got it, and they even challenged the goal, but it's still no goal. And that is not good for the Flyers. It's their final game of the season. The season is on the line, and this is what you're gonna do to the Flyers. This things like this is the last thing that the Flyers need. Definitely not good at all. So it's like, we gotta remember that goal. So shortly after that, the Capitals would score, and then in the second period, the Flyers would tie the game in the second. So two close games. We'll come back to that game, but for now, let's see how the Red Wings are doing. They're down to the final minute, and they pull their goalie. Remember that in the previous matchup between these two, Detroit made a big comeback to stay alive. Oh boy, it's gonna happen again, isn't it? Oh my god, the Red Wings have done it again. Just when all hope seemed lost, the Red Wings scored to tie the game with 3 seconds left. They were 3 seconds away for having their season end, but somehow they kept it alive. Like, this goal and the comeback in the previous game are definitely the greatest moments in Red Wings history since the Empire. So with that, the Red Wings are going to overtime. And with that point, the Flyers are officially eliminated. Speaking of the Flyers, what happens next actually took place 5 seconds after the Red Wings tied the game. It's like, there was like 3 minutes left, and it was still a tie game. At that point, it was coming down between the Red Wings and the Capitals to claim the final spot. The Flyers have realized that their season is dead, no matter what they do. John Tortorella knows this, and what does he do in the final 3 minutes of a tie game?
Is gone. Flyers
Wait,
gambling in this
what?
game. They have to beat Washington in regulation. Through center, it's Oshie. Oshie working wide. Fires it! Washington has the 1-goal lead to protect with 3 minutes to go.
In a tie game, in the final 3 minutes, John Tortorella does the unthinkable and pull the goalie. You heard that right. It's like, you think Minnesota pulling their goaltender in overtime is weird enough? We've seen a goalie get pulled in the final 3 minutes in a tie game. Not on a delayed penalty, not when they were down by a goal or two. They pull their goalie when the game is tied. Like, seriously, what were you thinking? It's like, what kind of analytics were you thinking this was a good idea? What kind of strategy were you thinking there? Other than just praying to God that they get the lead there. But still, no one has done this. Why did you do this? Like, John Tortorella is a great coach, but god damn it, that was a bad move. And of course it backfired, as Washington scored to win the game, to take the lead. And because of that, the Washington Capitals won the game. And with their win, they claim the final spot of the playoffs. Which means that the Detroit Red Wings season is over. Wait a minute. The Red Wings, they're about to go on a shootout. Oh, we forgot about the Red Wings.
Scores! And the Red Wings win it. So they get their 2 points. Just what they had to do. As they go to 91. They did their part. They win at 5-4. Same story as last night. Unfortunately, the Washington Capitals spoiled things.
And it looks like from the body language of the Red Wings on the ice, they already know.
Yeah.
Poor Detroit. Even with their late season heroics, even when they played their heart and their hearts out, even when coming back to win in the shootout, it was just not enough. As the Red Wings season is over. To make matters worse, they lose the playoff spot in a tie. Not by points, a tie. They had the same amount of points as the Capitals, yet the Capitals had a better record, which allowed them to go in. Which sucks, because knowing all this, the Flyers game changed everything. It's like so many things could have happened. It's like if that Flyers goal in the first period had counted, the Flyers would have had the lead, and they could have won the game. What would have happened? We don't know. But what we do know is that the game-winning goal by the Capitals on an empty net shouldn't have never happened. I know they did it as a strategy in hopes to get in a lead, but that's not strategy. That's just desperation. And you know what they say about desperation? It leads to disaster. Come on, just take the tie and just take the game to overtime. It's like, give yourself an extra point for God's sake. And if the Flyers hadn't pulled their goalie, and if they were able to win it in overtime, not only would the Capitals get eliminated, but the Red Wings would have made the playoffs. So it's like if the Red Wings had one more point, or the Capitals had one less point, the Red Wings would be in. It's like the Rangers would be facing the Red Wings instead of the Capitals. But terrible officiated, followed by dumb decisions by the coaching staff, have screwed the Red Wings over. It's like this game is the main reason why the Red Wings missed the playoffs. Not because of Larkin's injury, not because of a 7-game losing streak, not because of their collapse near the end of the season. It is because the Flyers made a stupid decision to pull the goalie in a tie game. It's like the Red Wings were this close, and all the time in the world, it wasn't enough. As the Capitals just got luckier there. It's a shame, because the Red Wings were in the playoffs for most of the season, and then it just came down to the final game to get rid of it. It sucks. It literally sucks for the Red Wings, and I feel bad for their fans. But look at the bright side. At least you are not the Coyotes.
Who cares flickers, flickers. Who cares when someone's time runs out? If a moment is all we are, or quicker, quicker. Who cares if one more light goes